The moment that just went viral across every social media platform tells you everything you need to know about what's really happening inside the Cleveland Browns organization. Andrew Berry, the general manager who took enormous heat for drafting Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round, just had his vindication moment. The cameras caught him approaching his quarterback immediately after the historic debut victory, and what happened next has the entire football world talking. This wasn't a formal handshake or a professional congratulations. This was genuine emotion, authentic pride, and the relief of a man who just watched his controversial decision get validated in the most public way possible. How does it feel, bro? Andrew Berry asked Shedeur with a huge smile on his face, and Shedeur's response was perfect. Exactly what you want to hear from a young quarterback who just made history. We got a lot to improve on, man, but made some tackles today. Yeah, saved more than I gave up. That humble, focused response, while still acknowledging the accomplishment, is the mark of a true professional. And Berry's reaction to his quarterback, the way he approached him, the genuine happiness in his voice, tells you everything about how invested he is in Shedeur's success and how much this moment meant to him personally. Let's talk about Andrew Berry's situation, because the context here is absolutely crucial to understanding why this moment went viral and why it matters so much. Andrew Berry is the general manager who made the controversial decision to draft Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round. He faced criticism from media members who questioned the pick. He dealt with skeptics who said Shedeur wasn't worth a roster spot. He navigated organizational politics and pressure from people who had their own preferences about which quarterback the Browns should pursue. And through it all, Berry believed in Shedeur, fought for him, and finally got his guy on the field. Now, after Shedeur just became the first Browns rookie quarterback to win his debut start in 30 years, after he ended a 17-game losing streak that had become a franchise embarrassment, after he put up over 200 yards and showed the poise and playmaking ability that made Berry believe in him in the first place, the GM gets to have his moment. This is vindication, this is validation, this is proof that Andrew Berry knew what he was doing when he selected Shedeur Sanders, regardless of what the doubters said. The viral nature of this clip speaks to how starved people are for authentic moments in professional sports. We're so used to seeing scripted press conferences and carefully managed interactions between executives and players, but this moment with Berry and Shedeur was real. The emotion was genuine. The pride in Berry's voice and body language couldn't be fake. And people responded to that authenticity, sharing the clip millions of times across Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and every other platform because it felt like a genuine human moment rather than corporate sports theater. But here's where the story gets even more interesting and controversial. Shedeur Sanders did not receive the game ball after his historic debut victory. Let me repeat that because it's almost impossible to believe. The quarterback who just ended a 30-year drought, who won his first start when 17 other Browns rookie quarterbacks before him had failed, who put up over 200 yards and made spectacular plays throughout the game, did not get the game ball. Instead, it went to Myles Garrett, the defensive end who recorded 3 sacks in the dominant victory. Now, before we go any further, let's be clear. Myles Garrett absolutely deserves recognition for his incredible performance. 3 sacks is outstanding production, and he's been one of the few bright spots for Cleveland throughout their struggles. The defense as a whole was spectacular, recording 10 total sacks and completely shutting down the Raiders' offense. Garrett's individual excellence and the defensive dominance were crucial to the victory, and nobody is trying to take that away from him. But here's the thing that has people upset. This was a historic moment for the franchise specifically because of what Shedeur accomplished. The significance of ending that rookie quarterback debut losing streak cannot be overstated. This was a storyline that defined the game, the narrative that had the entire football world paying attention, the achievement that will be remembered years from now when people look back at Shedeur's career. And for the coaching staff to not acknowledge that, with the game ball, feels like a massive oversight at best and a deliberate slight at worst. The decision about who gets the game ball might seem trivial to outsiders, but it matters within the locker room culture. It's a symbolic gesture that shows what the organization values and who they believe deserves recognition. For a rookie quarterback who just did something no Browns rookie had done in 3 decades, not receiving that acknowledgement sends a message, whether intentional or not. And based on the reactions flooding social media, a lot of people feel like Shedeur got disrespected by that decision. Myles Garrett's post-game comments show he's a classy veteran who understands the significance of what happened. He talked about how it felt to see all his teammates getting sacks and making plays, and he mentioned that breaking the franchise sack record was something he expected of himself. That last part is telling. For Garrett, this was just another excellent game in a career full of dominant performances. But for Shedeur, this was a career-defining moment, a historic achievement, a turning point not just for him individually, but for the entire franchise. The moment between Deion Sanders and Shedeur immediately after the game was absolutely beautiful and emotional. Primetime was there in the tunnel waiting for his son, and when they connected you could see the pride and emotion on both their faces. This was a father watching his son achieve something special, overcome adversity, and prove doubters wrong on the biggest stage. The security had to back people up to give them space for that private moment, and the respect shown by everyone around them speaks to how significant this achievement was. Shedeur's comments about accomplishing all of this with just 1 week of practice are absolutely explosive when you think about the implications. He said 1 week of practice, you know what I mean? This win is crazy. It's amazing. Off of 1 week of practice, you know what I mean? So imagine, what a full off-season look like. It get dangerous, but it's just a 1 week of practice. That's not just humility or downplaying his achievement. That's Shedeur exposing the Cleveland Browns' mismanagement of the quarterback situation in the most diplomatic way possible. Think about what he's really saying there. He just won his debut start, made history, put up over 200 yards, and made spectacular plays throughout the game with only 1 week of first-team practice reps. He wasn't running with the starters throughout training camp. He wasn't getting maximum preparation time with the offensive game plan built around him. He got thrust into this situation with minimal notice and still succeeded at a high level. Now imagine what he could do with a full offseason of work. With the entire offensive system designed around his strengths, with complete chemistry and timing built with his receivers. It get dangerous is an understatement. That comment is Shedeur's way of saying, without directly criticizing the coaching staff or front office, that the Browns have been wasting time by not giving him this opportunity sooner. If he can do this much with 1 week of practice, how much better could he and the offense be if he'd been the guy from day one? How many games might Cleveland have won earlier in the season if they'd made this change sooner? These are uncomfortable questions for Kevin Stefanski and the coaching staff. And Shedeur just put him on blast in the most subtle professional way possible. The criticism of Kevin Stefanski's handling of the quarterback situation is reaching a fever pitch after this performance. Fans and analysts are questioning why it took so long to get Shedeur on the field. They're asking why he wasn't getting first-team reps throughout training camp, if he was capable of this level of play. They're wondering if organizational politics or commitment to previous decisions prevented the coaching staff from making the obvious move earlier. And now, after watching Shedeur succeed despite minimal preparation, those questions are louder and more pointed than ever. Andrew Berry's position within the organization just became significantly stronger after this debut. If there were any discussions about his job security or questions about his talent evaluation, this performance answers them emphatically. Berry identified Shedeur as someone worth drafting in the 5th round when other teams passed on him repeatedly. He fought to get him on the roster and supported getting him on the field. And now his quarterback just made history and showed he can play at this level. That's exactly what a general manager is supposed to do. Identify undervalued talent and put it in position to succeed. The contrast between Berry's job security and Stefanski's is becoming stark. Berry looks like a genius for drafting Shedeur. Stefanski looks questionable for not playing him sooner and for making the controversial decision to not give him the game ball after a stark performance. If Cleveland had lost this game, the heat on Stefanski would have been intense, but even in victory, there are legitimate questions about his decision-making and whether he's maximizing the talent on his roster. The "somebody called me junior" comment from Shedeur in his conversation with Berry is interesting because it shows how people are already starting to compare him to his father. Being called junior when you're Deion Sanders' son comes with massive expectations and pressure, but Shedeur has consistently shown he doesn't run from that comparison or pressure. He embraces it, uses it as motivation, and then goes out and performs in ways that honor his father's legacy while also establishing his own identity. The support system around Shedeur is clearly strong, and that matters enormously for a young quarterback's development. He has his father's guidance and wisdom from decades at the highest levels of professional sports. He has a general manager in Andrew Berry who believes in him and fought to bring him to Cleveland. He has teammates like Myles Garrett who are veterans that can help him navigate the challenges of NFL life, and he has a fan base that's desperate for quarterback stability and willing to support him through the inevitable growing pains that come with developing a young signal caller. The social media reaction to the game ball controversy has been overwhelmingly in Shedeur's favor. Fans are expressing frustration that he didn't receive that recognition. Former players are questioning the decision. Analysts are debating whether it reflects deeper issues with how the coaching staff views Shedeur. The conversation has taken on a life of its own, and it's creating an awkward situation for the Browns organization that could have been easily avoided by just giving Shedeur the game ball and letting him have his moment. Myles Garrett mentioning that he had Andrew watching over me today is a touching tribute to a fallen teammate, and nobody should diminish that moment or that emotion. Honoring teammates who will pass is an important part of sports culture, but that doesn't change the fact that Shedeur's historic achievement also deserved recognition, and it's not mutually exclusive to honor both the defensive dominance and the quarterback's breakthrough performance. The question moving forward is what Cleveland does with the quarterback situation. Do they commit to Shedeur as the starter for the remainder of the season? Do they go back to the previous starter once he's healthy? The momentum and energy that Shedeur brought to the team combined with his actual on-field performance make a compelling case for keeping him in the starting role, but organizational inertia and commitment to previous decisions sometimes prevent teams from making the obvious choice. Shedeur's comment about imagining what a full offseason would look like is going to haunt the Browns if they don't make him the permanent starter. He just told them and everyone watching that he can be even better with proper preparation and a full opportunity. If Cleveland doesn't give him that chance, and if he ends up succeeding elsewhere, or if the Browns continue to struggle at quarterback, that quote will be played over and over as evidence that they had the answer and refused to commit to it. The viral nature of Andrew Berry's moment with Shedeur speaks to how much people want to see the Browns succeed. Despite decades of dysfunction and disappointment, despite being the punchline of countless jokes, there's still enormous goodwill toward Cleveland and genuine hope that they can turn things around. Seeing the GM and his quarterback share that authentic moment of celebration after a historic victory taps into that hope and makes people want to believe this could be the beginning of something special. The emotional intelligence that Shedeur displayed in his post-game comments is impressive for someone his age. He gave credit to his teammates and coaches. He acknowledged there's still work to do and room for improvement. He stayed humble while also subtly making the point that he deserves more opportunity. That's a difficult balance to strike, and the fact that he managed it shows maturity and media savvy that will serve him well throughout his career. The pressure on Cleveland's coaching staff to continue giving Shedeur opportunities is now immense. The fans want it, the media is pushing for it, the GM clearly believes in him, and most importantly, Shedeur just proved he can handle the moment and succeed at this level. If Stefanski and his staff try to go back to the previous quarterback hierarchy after this performance, there will be an enormous backlash from every corner of Browns fandom. So here we are. Andrew Berry just had his vindication moment with the quarterback he fought to draft. Shedeur Sanders made history but didn't get the game ball. The entire football world is debating what Cleveland should do moving forward, and a fifth-round pick, who many people said didn't belong in the NFL, just proved he's exactly what the Browns have been desperately searching for over 3 decades of quarterback purgatory. What do you think about Andrew Berry's emotional moment with Shedeur after the historic win? Was it wrong for Shedeur not to get the game ball after his debut? Do you believe the Browns should make him the permanent starter based on what you saw? How significant was Shedeur's comment about only having 1 week of practice? Drop all your thoughts in the comments because I want to hear your perspective on this incredible story. If you made it this far, you clearly care about this story and want to follow every development in Shedeur's journey. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update when we drop new content covering the Browns and Shedeur's career. Give this video a thumbs up if you think Shedeur deserved the game ball and if believe Andrew Berry made the right call drafting him. Share this with your friends who are Browns fans because this is a moment they've been waiting for their entire lives. The drought is over, history has been made, and the real story is just beginning. Until next time, keep watching, keep believing, and keep coming back for more incredible content. Peace.